Hey, welcome back, everyone. Good evening. Today is November 20th, 2017. I'm Nathan Johnson, the Contra Costa County Veteran Service Officer, and tonight I'm joined again by who? Hey, my co-host, Kevin Graves. Kevin, welcome back.
Thank you, Nathan.
It's been a long time.
It has been a while, a couple months.
May. More than a couple months.
Okay.
Been a while. So the purpose of tonight's show is to explore the issues that affect the veteran community and to connect you and your families with the benefits and resources that are available. We have several guests on our show tonight, but they aren't the only ones we would like to hear from. If you'd like to share your thoughts, your own art, or ask a question, please do so right now. Our phone lines are currently open, so don't hesitate to call. You can reach us at 925-313-1170, or you can email us at veteransvoices@contracostatv.org. You can also instant message us on Facebook. We're on Facebook Live right now, Veterans Voices 1. Or go onto our website, contracostatv.org.
Tonight's episode is titled The Creative Side of Veterans. Tonight we get to have a conversation with veterans who are also artists. We will highlight their lives, work, and perspective in order to show you what they as military veterans bring to the creative world. We also recognize the therapeutic power inherent in creating art in its multiple forms. And so later we will provide some resources for you as well. But first, stay tuned. We'll be right back to kick it off with our first artist right after this.
So I went to Iraq in 2003. I was there at Camp Cropper by the airport. The biggest job I had in Iraq was don't die. And then coming home and having to decide what to eat, what to wear, when to eat, when I was going to do this, when I was going to do that. And it was tough. And I never really gave myself time to really transition. I just went straight from going to Baghdad, going home, and then going back to work. It really hit home after a couple of years that I wasn't the same person that went. I was really down and didn't want to do anything. So I picked up a camera and started to try to walk around again to help me get me out of the house and to help me learn and grow and help me really put things back together. Yeah, if there was anything I could tell a veteran that wants to find an outlet, I tell them whether they like cooking, writing, photography, anything, go out there and explore it and share it with someone because it could inspire someone, it could help someone.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Our phone lines are currently open, so if you have a question or you want to join the conversation, don't hesitate to call us. Again, tonight what we're talking about is the creative side of veterans. And again, that phone number is 925-313-1170. Joining us now is Aaron Toole, Jim Hardy, and Angeline Aguilar. And so welcome to the show, everyone.
Thank you.
How you all doing tonight? Pretty good?
Pretty good.
Well,
Good. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So you're all artists, you all are creative and professionals, and you teach in some instances, but introduce yourselves a little bit. Tell us about your military service.
Ladies first.
Go ahead, Angelina.
Sure,
Thank you.
Angelina,
Yes, thank
please.
you. I am a Navy veteran. I served actually in Guantanamo years ago. And just being there helped me to see life a little differently. I say I grew up there.
Well, thank you so much for
Yes,
being
thank you.
here.
Thank you.
And so we'll do age before beauty. Is that the next thing? What do we do here? Aaron, let's toss to you, man.
The oldest in It's the beard. I was in the Marine Corps, 91 Gulf War, in the Embassy Guard, and then got out, took the GI Bill, took art classes, and got into ceramics. And I've been doing ceramics seriously since 2001.
And so this is special. We get to drink out of your cups tonight, which is quite an honor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah,
Right on.
cheers to that.
Cheers.
There we go. And so, Jim, you've had an appearance on the show, or at least your art has been on the show.
Oh.
If you don't recognize our audience, if you don't recognize these statues behind us, these wood carvings have been on the show in a previous episode. But tonight we get to actually talk to the artists themselves. So, Jim, tell us a little bit about your military service.
I was drafted in '68, went to Vietnam, did two tours in Vietnam. I hid out in college for as many years as I could swing it, but they caught up with me. I was slated to go to OCS as an infantry officer, and luckily my art background and training came through for me, and I ended up going to Vietnam as an Army artist on a TDY assignment. So 5 months was better than 1 year in Vietnam as an officer,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Right.
And so I think I made the right decision. When I came home, I was on laundry detail at Fort Ord, and it drove me nuts, and I volunteered to go back for a second tour to Vietnam. Figure that one out.
Yeah.
But I did pretty much the same thing I did during my first tour, which was Army art. I went out in the field in the resupply helicopters and sketched the infantry soldier.
So tonight we're hoping to inspire other veterans to express themselves through their creative side, to become artists or become teachers like yourselves. And so, Jim, you mentioned that you were an artist when you were in the military, but Angelina and Aaron, were you guys also involved in arts when you were in the military, or is this something that came later on in life?
I started actually before I joined, and while I was in, it was really hard for me to be able to express myself that way. I explored a little bit with photography, self-portraits and those types of things. It never really went anywhere. I joined to be a photographer. I wanted to be in combat camera, and that never panned out for me. So afterwards, when I got out, I found it therapeutic, and I just started exploring different mediums and wanted to work with young children, so I brought that to my teaching.
So tell us about what you do with your art at this point in your life. What does it do for you, or what do you do for it, and how do you share it?
Well, I'm a preschool teacher. I work with young children, and my love for art I bring to the classroom. And I do it a lot through colors. My children are young, so that's what we're looking at is colors. And we look at colors in life. We focus on the rainbow, and just what do we get out of the colors? What color are the skies? Or how can we mix colors, primary colors become secondary colors, and how can we mix them and form things out of them? And we use canvas, and I bring in different types of mediums for the children to use, and I just talk about using imagination. Sometimes we have the music on and have them think about what they're going to be doing with the music and how it inspires them. And we talk about emotions. So through their drawings, which are a lot of scribbles, but to them, you know, they're sitting there writing, and they're telling me they're writing their name, or they're telling me a story. My children are 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
2 and 3. Yes. So
But that's a good age, though, to introduce them to.
I like to bring, yes, and a lot of tactile experiences as well. So a lot of the finger paintings, you know, we have to remind them these don't go in your mouth kind of thing, but it's
Some of them
very
are future
relaxing.
Marines.
Yes,
Don't
it's
eat the
relaxing because it takes my mind off of whatever's going on in my life or in the world at this time, and it helps me to focus more simply and to bring it down to their level and help them to explore that.
Fantastic.
But you do something similar also, Aaron, right? You're involved in teaching art as well, or how does your art fit into your life?
Well, I work at UC Berkeley. I'm staff at UC Berkeley, which is almost like working with 2 and 3-year-olds. But I work there in the ceramics department, art practice, and I make cups. I show in museums mostly because I give the cups away, commercial galleries aren't really interested. But a lot of times it's, you know, vets and their families that want the cups. And so, you know, I'm about 2 years behind on my orders, but
Wow.
I'll get to it, you know. And I work in geologic time, right? The cups will last 500,000 to 1 million years. So if it takes me a year or two to get you your cup, like, relax, you know.
Do you also teach? Do you teach ceramics?
If the kids can, you know, get past the beard and the grumpy looks and ask me questions, then yeah, I'll teach. But in general, I'm just staff there at UC.
Okay. Interesting.
So, what would you say? I'm just going to be real with the audience. I draw stick figures. Okay, I'm about as far from anything of an artist as you can get. So, if we were to talk to veterans or their family members and inspire them to become artists, where would they start? You know, I was thinking about recently at the dining table, my 2 daughters, my wife and I were doing some art. My 4-year-old really struggled with it. You know, she couldn't feel confident in what she was drawing. So I would imagine maybe a lot of veterans and people who just don't have that type of skill, like me, they would become frustrated or maybe lack the confidence. But where would you encourage them to start in a place that might lead to some type of successful thing like what's on display here tonight and a career in teaching kids?
Well, I'll say, I think start wherever it feels like, whatever you're drawn to first, and then it's just kind of math after that. And if I'm honest, I think my first ceramics instructor was prior Army, and I was Marine Corps, so I'm trying to learn how to throw. And he's, look at Big Sergeant Toole getting his butt kicked by 5 pounds of clay. I said, oh, I'll show you, old man. And then he said I couldn't decorate my work, so I went home and made molds and started decorating my work, just purely out of spite. So stuck with it for a couple of years.
You know, one thing I tell my parents, especially, is there's no right or wrong way for art. It's how you visualize it and what it means to you. I mean, my children will draw scribbles, and I'll ask them, tell me about this, tell me about your drawing, and they have a whole story about it. So I'll just dictate that, and you know, that's what they see in their mind. So I'm not going to tell them that's not what they drew, because in their mind they're seeing exactly what they drew, and it's just my job to respect that.
Now, Jim, you recently have had your art on display. So your statues have traveled with the moving wall, but your drawings recently were on display at the Art Cottage. What's it like, you know, once you move past maybe some of that initial hesitance to express yourself, once you actually get out there in front of the public, how does that make you feel? Do you feel proud? Do you feel nervous?
All of the above.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was your first event like? Tell us about that.
I used to teach welding at Contra Costa College back in the middle 80s, which is the time I started doing these wood carvings, about the time the wall in Washington went up and people started talking about Vietnam again. And I had the carvings in some of my the original combat drawings are back in Washington, D.C. They belong to the Army Archives at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. Mm-hmm. But I took photographs of them before they were all sent back. And I used those photographs of the sketches that I did in the field to work on my wood carvings from in the 80s.
And others have seen your work, and recently they wrote to you about it, right? I mean, you had 2 young ladies write you a letter.
Yeah, it was. I told them it was more precious to me than money. What they said, they just.
What did they say? What was the feedback?
Well, I'd have to read it. I can't remember. They thought that I caught. They said that it was eye-opening for them to see these. It used to travel with the wall, as you said, the traveling wall, the one that's in Washington, D.C. These carvings would be out on display with the wall for a week at a time. And a docent or a groundskeeper came up to me one time and said, hey, somebody broke one of your carvings. And I said, they're grunts, you know, they're soldiers. I send them back to the rear and patch up their bones, their splints, and paint them up, touch them up a little bit, and send them back out for the next traveling wall exhibit somewhere.
Well, I think it's interesting.
I don't know. I can't get too precious with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. But I think it's interesting that we have kind of 3 different modes of expression we're talking about here, but I think it's important to understand that just because you may not feel comfortable with one, you may be very comfortable with another. I know that if I took a piece of wood and a knife, that I would not have any hands left. I would not have any fingers left, because, you know, I've got scars just from, you know, putting in a sprinkler system. So I know that's not going to happen.
I'm no different.
Drawing's not anything I'm really comfortable with, although I did some when I was young. But I recently had an experience where I worked with clay, and clay can be very therapeutic. We didn't have it on a wheel. I used the old, I forget what they call it. Pinch and pull, I think it was called, process, and made a pot that way. And it didn't look much like a pot, but it felt good, you know. And I would encourage any of our veterans out there to explore that expression, explore that mode of expression, and there is something therapeutic about creating, even if it's not beautiful in your eyes. It's maybe beautiful in somebody else's eyes.
I resisted that idea as art as therapy for a long time, but now I'm coming up on 20,000 cups that I've made and given away since 2001, so I may have crossed that line between productive and obsessive.
You say you resisted it. What was the resistance? I mean,
well, just, you know, you go to school and you want to be an artist. You don't want to necessarily be a veteran artist or therapy art, or, you know, you want to be just an artist. But I think, you know, and that's, when I started making my work originally, it was about my experience in the 91 Gulf War, and then now the other wars have kind of overlapped, and so now I'm, you know, making cups for other families. And
Well, we appreciate you guys being with us here tonight. You're going to stay on the set with us, and we'll probably have more questions throughout the rest of the segment. But at this point, we will be right back with more veterans artists. But first, please enjoy this video interview with local author and Vietnam veteran and friend of the show, Steve Burchick.
I'm Kira Cerna here with Vietnam veteran Stephen Burchick. Stephen is author of 2 books, Compass and a Camera and Focus on Vietnam. Welcome, Stephen.
Glad to be here.
So I understand that you're a Vietnam veteran and an author. What would you like to share with our audience today?
The primary message today is I'd like to recognize the creativity of veterans from all eras and the importance of trying to preserve their history. My personal experience was I got back from Vietnam and like many veterans didn't talk about it for many years. Then in about 3 years ago, I was asked to give a short talk to some students in a high school English class. Teacher was a friend of the family. She happened to know I was a Vietnam veteran. So I gave the talk, 2 sections of her class. A couple days later, she invites my wife and I to dinner and hands me a folder with 60 letters from the students. That was the first time anyone had something positive about my experience. An adult group heard about the talk, asked me to give a presentation. I did that, and then at the end of it, a woman comes up to me and said, well, when is the book coming out? I had no intention of writing a book, but I went home, spoke to my wife, and I said, do you still have the letters I sent you? I'd sent her a letter almost every day, some longer, some shorter. And she says, yes, they're in shoe boxes in the closet. Pulled the letters out, spent a year, wrote the book, and it is done very well. And as a result of that, I've gone on to do speaking engagements with a variety of different groups.
What advice would you give to other veterans who want to preserve their photographs or letters or material from their service?
That's a great question, and the advice is do as much as you can to save it. That came home to me on a very personal level. Several months ago, I was fortunate to have my photographs displayed in a local museum. As part of the exhibit, the other part of it was my photos, the other part were letters from veterans from wars going back to the Civil War. One of the issues that came up in the planning meeting was that a lot of the recent veterans, as well as older veterans, don't have all the letters or memories from when they served. They had lost a lot of the letters, a lot of the photographs through a series of normal life events. Many of them moved several times. Boxes of memories were misplaced. People got divorced, water damage, pests chewed into the material, theft and vandalism, and especially light damage to photos. Another issue is much of the correspondence with veterans now is in the form of emails and Skype, especially the recent veterans, much like yourself. So this is a real issue, and digital age may rob us of future firsthand history.
If someone has photographs or stories or letters that they are interested in maybe publishing or creating into a book, what advice would you give that person?
I'd say go ahead and do it. It's one of the most valuable things, and once again, tracking or keeping track of personal histories means a lot to a family, especially as the years go by. If you wind up having a family, it's great to pass a set on to your children. If you're lucky enough to get as old as I am and have grandchildren, you know, they appreciate it as well. Mm-hmm. And in terms of publishing these days, publishing has gotten very easy. Any veteran can put together a story. I mean, it can be as short as 10 pages and result in a pamphlet. You can also do it in the form of a book. There are multiple self-publishing services, a variety of them on the internet. So there's many ways to do it. In addition, in terms of the actual writing, there are writing classes set up for veterans at a number of the veteran service offices. There are civilian organizations, writing groups with local colleges, universities. as well as amateur groups that just get together and share their histories. So I would strongly urge veterans to do this because once again, their life experience has been a little different from the average American citizen.
And that sounds like a great place to start. Now, this is your new book, Focus on Vietnam, and this is a collection of photographs that you have taken during your service in Vietnam. Can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yes, I wrote the first book, Compass and a Camera, and that was almost a daily diary, but it's in narrative form, and it got a great reception. There are about 50 or 60 pictures in the book, black and whites, and I got requests from a lot of people who knew I had taken a lot of pictures, would like to see more of the pictures. So that's when I put the second book together, and this is primarily photographs. There's 250 images, about half are black and white, about half are color images that were made from slides. And they're broken into themes. So one theme, for instance, would be infantry or patrols in the field. Another one would be aircraft. And there are photographs of various helicopters, planes, jets, etc.
So you've been out of Vietnam for quite a while. What took so long to publish the book?
Like a lot of other Vietnam veterans, I got back in 1969. The country was in turmoil. People were very upset about the war. I had taken a lot of pictures and showed them to some friends and family, but after a few weeks I realized most people just didn't want to see it. Packed them away, and I hadn't looked at the pictures in more than 40 years.
Sure, and that was pretty typical of the time frame back then.
Yeah, and so like I said, when this English teacher asked me to give a talk, I said, "Are you sure?" And she says, "Yes, I think the students are mature enough." And so I did the talk, and then shortly after that did a talk with an adult group, and was surprised at how open people were to the material. And basically time has passed, and you know, just this past recently we've seen the Ken Burns presentation on the history of Vietnam and the conflict, and there's a big difference now in people's attitudes.
And what was it like pulling those photographs out of the box again for, you know, after not seeing them for such a long time?
That was pretty special. It brought back a lot of memories, and it was kind of reliving a lot of what was going on. It made writing the book easier because I could use not only the letters but the photographs to see what was going on at a particular time frame. I did have one incident where in writing the first book I wanted to be sure it was accurate and make sure I had the names of people who were lost in our unit. So I went to a website and identified the fact that there were four men in our unit lost in the year I was there.
That must have been hard.
It was, but that's out of 200, a loss of 4 is about a 2% casualty rate. I know units that were further north, closer to North Vietnam, had much higher casualty rates. But in the course of doing that, I noticed that I did it for my time frame, ending in June of 1969. I recognized the name from a couple months past after I had left. And it struck me, and I got very upset. It was lunchtime, and I having lunch with my wife, and she said, "Why are you so upset?" I said, "Well, I found that a buddy of mine didn't make it." And she says, "Yeah, but that was 40 years ago." And I said, "I know, but I just found out today."
Have you maintained contact with any of your unit members from Vietnam?
I had no contact with anybody from our unit until I wrote the first book, and then started trying to contact some of them. Some of them saw the book. So now I've been in contact with about a half a dozen of the other guys. And one of them actually lives in Southern California, invited me down to do to speak to his group. It was a Rotary group. And I said, "Gee, Larry, I mean, that's a long drive just for one presentation." He said, "No, I'm the district governor for Rotary. I'll set up 5 talks." So he and I
He was
met.
keeping you busy.
He kept us busy, so we had a good time, and he and I have become good friends. He and his wife have come up, and we see each other on a regular basis now.
What was it like interacting with these people after not seeing them for such a long time?
It was quite a bit different. In some ways, it was like continuing from where we had left. On the other hand, I looked a lot older than them. They looked a lot older than I did. but there was still a common bond there, and it was really a great experience.
Well, I'm glad you reconnected with them. Your first book, Compass in a Camera, actually won an award. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, the award was, it was the independent publishers, and what they did is set up a series of awards for various categories of books produced by independent publishers. And as I mentioned earlier, more and more books these days are being produced independently. The number of commercial or regular publishers is shrinking. With limited resources, it's harder and harder to get them to publish a book. So this organization set up these awards. I submitted it kind of on a lark. I didn't really think anything would happen, and was shocked to find out that I had won a silver medal for the book.
And it was selected out of 6,000 different books.
There were
correct?
6,000 entries. This was the category autobiography. So that was pretty special.
That is pretty
really,
special.
Very happy about that.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your advice and for sharing with us and for just being here tonight.
Thank you, Kira. It's been a great time.
Okay, you're on, dude.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that video interview with Steve Burchick, who also happens to be a part of our production team. Steve, if you're out there watching tonight, of course you are. We miss you here on the set, and have safe travels. Tonight we're speaking to veterans about their creative endeavors. If you'd like to join our conversation, share an experience, or ask a question, please call us right now at 925-313-1170. Now we'd like to welcome, we're not going to welcome James Lyons.
But we have a question.
But we have a question.
Yeah.
And so
this is for Aaron.
This is probably a Facebook Live, and so thanks for watching on Facebook. And this question's for Aaron, yeah. So what inspires you to design your cups, or to put the designs on your cups?
It started originally just, my insignia, and then my father's a Vietnam vet, and his insignia, and then people have been letting me use their insignia to make molds, and I'll decorate the cups with those, and then, different images. As the wars continue, veteran suicide obviously is an issue in our community, and so that's what that cup's about, just talking, just to bring it to light, They're just cups, but it's really the conversations around the cups that I think are the power of the cups.
Do people ever make special requests for a particular design, or do they give you maybe what they would want something to look like, and you're able to create it?
Yeah. People have been sending. I say I'm about 2 years behind on my cup requests, but yeah, people will send in images of family and ask for a cup, and then I'll put those images on. And
very cool. Well, we're honored. Thank you.
Jim, I have a question for you. How have other veterans reacted to your work?
They have very positive, which has been very gratifying for me to hear. They said, "Hey, Jim, you got the grunt. They look like grunts," and I carve them out of balsa wood. I drop them sometimes. They break. They're not exotic wood. They break, and I just, like I said earlier about patching them up, sending them back out. What that does is it gives kind of a patina to them of age or something. And I think Aaron and Angelina mentioned something about that. That's kind of the beauty of art when you're creating things, is the things that come up that are unexpected. And these carvings, plus the drawings, have been all over the place, and they're in transit, and inevitably they get damaged. And I just say it adds more to the reality of them, and the veterans pick that up. They've said that to me several times on many occasions.
So real quickly, and we're going to move on to another segment, but I want to mention that these pictures that you drew behind here, the people that are featured in the pictures have had an opportunity to actually sign them and write a message, but these were done when you were in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And so have they had a chance to look back at their picture and read their message?
I don't, a few have. I haven't heard from too many. Some of the stuff has gotten on the internet. You can Google Jim Hardy Vietnam artist, and magically all this stuff comes up that I never had any intention of having out there.
Is that archive that you're in, is that available online, or is it open to the public?
Well, it must be now, because I've put stuff out there, but I haven't heard from Washington yet. I haven't had my thumbs wrapped. I've got paintings back there and part of the archives collection from when I was an Army artist in Vietnam, 69, 70. I've got etchings, lithographs, paintings. And the sketches, these were all in sketchbooks. These are photographs from the sketchbooks.
Well, we're going to cut away from this for just a moment. You guys aren't going anywhere, but now we're going to cut to a special phone segment here. We have James Lyons, who's supposed to be joining us by phone. James, are you with us now?
Yep, I'm here. I'm sorry, I had you on mute.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, James. And if you've been watching, of course, we're talking about the creative side of veterans. And so we're here with Steve and Angelina and Aaron. And so, I'm sorry, I said Jim. Jim, Angelina, and Aaron.
Steve's my middle name.
Oh, Steve.
I'll give you credit for that.
So, James, so tell us a little bit about yourself, James.
So I am a West Contra, Costa County native. I am from the city of Richmond, California. I went to high school locally at the end of high school in Richmond. I also went to Contra Costa College. After getting out of the Marine Corps, I served from 2004 to 2009. Currently, I work in local government for Contra Costa County Supervisor John Joya. Nate, is there anything else I'm supposed to say?
No, thanks for joining us, and thank you for your service. And so you do photography, and we've talked a little bit about how some artists up here, art was a part of their life even before the military or while they're in. So how long have you been doing photography, James?
So for about the last 2 years, photography came to me in a moment in my life where I needed an outlet. I didn't know then that I needed to be creative, but what I did know is that I needed a way to deal with some of life's sort of issues as they come up. And the best way for me to do that, I found out, was through photography. The interesting thing is that my father has been a photographer my entire life. So as a hobby, I looked in the mirror one morning and said, what took me so long to come around to this? And this is also special to me because it's something that I get to share with my father. Get to talk to him about places to go, ways to take pictures, things to do professionally to develop and to become a better photographer. So it's pretty special to me.
Well, that's great, James. What advice would you give to other veterans when it comes to expressing yourself through the creative process?
Be fearless. Just like we learned on active duty for many of us, for all veterans, for all active reserve service members, be fearless. A lot of the challenges that I've had with photography come from being anxious, being a little scared to put myself out there. But the largest rewards have come from acknowledgement of people saying, thank you for taking a picture of me, or I really enjoyed that sunset. And I'm getting more from it than I thought I would have initially. And I definitely encourage anyone with whatever type of art or any type of expression to just get out there and do it. That the reward will certainly be there on the back end. Put the effort in.
So we actually have a few of your photos that we're going to show our audience tonight. And maybe while we're showing these photos, tell us a little bit about what your favorite things to photograph are. Do you like to get out and take photos of some of our landscape, maybe some of our architecture, people, animals, or maybe just everything? What do you like to get out and capture with your camera?
I love to capture landscape, but in particular, I love bridges. And the Bay Area has bridges everywhere. And I spend a significant portion of my time taking pictures of bridges. The Golden Gate, the Richmond San Rafael, the Bay Bridge, sometimes smaller bridges connecting, going over a river or a creek or something like that. I really just love to get up and get out there and really capture pictures of bridges. That's probably my favorite. But as that's developed, there's nothing quite like taking a nice portrait of someone, grabbing a picture of someone in the moment, or intentionally taking a picture for someone, professional headshots, things of that nature. It all really, really is rewarding, and it's hard to say what my favorite is, but certainly taking pictures of bridges in the Bay Area is my favorite thing.
So you say that it's rewarding. I'm just wondering, what's most rewarding about it? Do you feel satisfied when you capture that perfect picture, or do you get feedback from people? Do do others use their pictures for some type of purpose, or what is the most rewarding part of this for you?
So the most rewarding part may not be what you get. The best part for me is that I get to be lost in a moment. So when I'm out with my camera, my phone's in my pocket, or I leave it in the car, and I get to go somewhere else. I get to be in the moment. And I didn't know that that would be one of the most rewarding parts of photography, is that I get to take a genuine escape when I want to. I can go somewhere into the Marin Headlands, look at the Golden Gate Bridge, turn everything off, and just be there. And the ability to clear the mind, to get away. Very selfishly, the most rewarding thing is that I found something to help myself out. And photography definitely does that. Whenever I pick up my camera, I am definitely focused on the subject, the scene, and all the other things going on. They just go away.
Well, James, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Wish we had more time to talk with you and talk about your beautiful photography, but appreciate your service, appreciate working with you. You're a great man, and I'm always inspired by your photos. So we're going to toss now to Shannon. We have Shannon who's joining us live by Skype. And Shannon, are you there with us tonight?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. Yeah, absolutely. We can't see you, but hopefully people in our audience can. So Shannon, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi. Well, I grew up here in Southern California. I'm here now. I'm calling you from We Are the Mighty, actually.
Oh, wow.
And
cool. There you are.
I joined the Air Force after 9/11. I did ROTC in college. I commissioned as an intelligence officer. I served in Texas, Korea, and Maryland. And then I was like, oh, done with that. I need to go be an actor. So I came out to Los Angeles, and I've been writing and acting.
So tell us about your experience with Pinup for Vets.
Yes. So Pinups for Vets, I met Gina Elise, the founder of Pinups for Vets, about 2 years ago while I was doing a program with veterans at the Geffen Playhouse, which was incredible. And she approached me and told me about her organization. Pinups for Vets is a nonprofit organization that helps hospitalized veterans. So we have an annual calendar to help do fundraising. We do classic, pinup, and 40s style photo shoots. And then we also do bedside visits, and we help, we send packages to deployed active duty members and help veterans and their families. So it's a really, really wonderful organization that I'm proud to be a part of.
And is this a part of your acting career? Is this something that you and the other pinups are volunteering your time for? Or how
We're all volunteers.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So
many of us are in the entertainment industry. Many of us are veterans, but not everyone is. We just have a lot of patriotic civilians as well, and or men and women who have discovered the organization because they have family members or loved ones or spouses who are veterans. And it's a really incredible group of people who just want to help the veteran community.
So when someone buys one of these calendars, it raises money, you said, for injured veterans that are in hospitals. So how does someone go about, I guess there's a website for it?
There is, yes, pinupsforvets.com. And you can buy a calendar for yourself. You can donate a calendar. You can give them as gifts, which is what I've been doing. And you can also just, you can contribute to have a calendar sent to somebody overseas or for one of our hospital visits, because we give them as gifts when we visit veterans' hospitals and homes.
Shannon, how have you found your acting career to help you cope with any of the situations you've had from being a veteran? Was that something you went into from a creative standpoint, or is it just something you found yourself doing?
I always knew that I wanted to act, and when 9/11 happened, I felt like I needed to help and contribute however I could, so I joined the military. And when I got out, I, for a while, struggled with it because it felt like I'd lost 8 years of pursuing my creative career and that I was behind. And what's been really neat to discover is that there's a robust community of veterans in the entertainment industry. And I've been finding them through Veterans in Media and Entertainment or organizations like We Are the Mighty. We help lift each other up. So we have directors, we have writers, we have programs that are helping us learn all of our trades and learning these crafts. And what's exciting about it is that we can help tell our stories in ways that Hollywood hasn't done yet.
I think that's really important. I'm glad you're mentioning that Hollywood can help tell the veteran's story. How do you work to portray the veteran? I mean, you are a veteran, so what do you think is important in terms of when you represent pinups for vets and when you represent veterans in the Hollywood industry? What do you strive for in terms of helping people learn more about who veterans are?
I think one thing that I've been observing is that we have a very small idea of what veterans are, like this cookie cutter picture of a veteran. And in a lot of ways, that's the standardized warrior that needs to fight one particular mission. But people are surprised when they find out that I'm a vet, or that a lot of the pinups are vets, so that women are veterans, and that creatives and artists are vets. And the main thing is that we look like everyone else, and we have a lot of things that make us similar to everyone else in this country, and that's kind of cool. And so because of that, it means that there isn't just the story of different times in combat, which are what most of the stories from the military are when you watch them in film or television. And there's a lot more to it than that. So I think that people are starting to show the different parts of service and the different effects of service.
Well, Shannon, thank you so much, and stay tuned with us. We do have a phone call that we're going to take, and so we don't want to lose Shannon, but we have Chris Lavero on the phone. Chris, are you able to join us?
I am. How are you?
All right, this is pretty cool. So we got a Skype session going on. We got a phone call here. This is working out great. So, Chris, welcome to the show, and you've called in before, so welcome back. And tonight's topic is the creative side of veterans, and how are you involved in this conversation?
I am actually friends with Shannon, and we are currently involved in a veterans dance project for an organization called Diablo, which is a world-class dance company. And they have been doing a series of workshops with veterans that culminated in a performance that we did on Veterans Day. And it has been an incredibly powerful experience for us. We performed to a 1,700-seat sold-out theater. As a veteran, you do all these things in the art, and you go through different types of therapy to reintegrate when you come back from the experience of war or your service. And this process with Diablo has been so powerful that I tell people it's the first time that I've ever truly been at peace since returning from war.
Hey, Chris. This is Kevin Graves. How you doing, man?
Hey, how are you, Kevin? I'm watching you on TV. You look great.
Hey, it's great to hear your voice again. I remember going to one of your performances over Marin College, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. It was a Shakespearean piece, I believe, wasn't it?
Correct, As You Like It.
That's right. You did a great job. Well, it's great to hear your voice again. It's been a long time. Chris and I actually worked on a project together, a suicide prevention piece that Chris helped us actually produce. He directed and produced the piece for us, and it's been a long time, but congratulations on your career, Chris. You've done some wonderful things. I've been stalking you on Facebook.
So this is really neat, though, because I didn't know that until Chris called in. So Chris and Shannon are working together. So veterans are actually coming together in the arts. And what's it like to work with other veterans? Are you able to mesh some of your military experiences into the art? I'm getting the signal that we're out of time. So do you guys enjoy working with other vets? Do you encourage other veterans to get involved in what you're involved in?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I could easily spend the rest of my time here just plugging Shannon. She's an incredible performer. She's a wonderful actress. She's part of the Warriors for Peace theater company that I founded, and we were in a showcase recently, and she played King Henry, and she was amazing. But yeah, a lot of what I do is work with Shakespeare, and he writes a lot about war, and for most people that's an abstract idea, but for veterans, we've lived it. So his prose and his verse take on a new meaning for us, and I have found that it's also an amazing form of catharsis for myself and the veterans in the group.
So Shannon, real quickly, what words would you have to inspire another veteran to get involved in acting or dancing or in something as giving as Pinups for Vets?
One thing that I always like to tell people is find the community, because we're out there, we're not alone, and there are other people who have similar interests, and we are stronger when we come together. So find your friend, find your community, find the tribe, lift each other up, and go for it.
Shannon, how cool to have you on the show tonight. And Chris, thanks for joining us, and what a neat treat that we got two people calling in who are working together. So
thank you very much, you guys. Appreciate it. Tonight we are having a discussion of local artists who are also veterans. Our lines are open. Please contact us via Facebook, chat, or by calling 925-313-1170 to ask a question of any of our guests. Up next is a short clip of Vet on the Street with our very own Ryan Berg. Ryan had a chance to catch up with veterans at the 5th Annual Veterans Day softball tournament in Concord to discuss the meaning of Veterans Day. Stay with us, because afterwards we have a very special performance by two military veterans who are finding joy through music.
I'm here at the 5th Annual Veterans Invitational Softball Tournament, here speaking with veterans about the meaning of Veterans Day.
B-roll.
And this is Maurice Delmer, I'm guessing. Hold on. Yeah, that's Maurice.
Salt and pepper in the house.
Hey, speaking of which, Maurice Delmer, one of the facilitators, administrators of the softball tournament. How's it going today so far?
The tournament's going well. We had a little issue earlier with the team not showing up, but we made the best of the situation. Looks like all the teams are out here having fun. And you know, I think I'm hoping the meaning of Veterans Day and the significance of Veterans Day is coming through in the on the field. And veterans, you know, the players are treating each other with the respect and affording each other the respect that we all deserve as veterans. And you know, that's what we're carrying out. That's the purpose of this tournament. So
I'm curious. This is a little non-traditional in terms of a Veterans Day ceremony or event. Why was a softball tournament chosen, you know, to celebrate Veterans Day?
That's a great question. Initially, we decided to do this because we have a Veterans Day, a veteran league. We have a veteran team that plays in a league, a local recreational league, and we found that, you know, veterans playing, you know, a sport together, recreating together, there's a lot of, you know, benefit to that, just in terms of readjustment and connection and socialization, and we wanted to bring that on into a broaden that out. And we felt that, you know, when you go to Veterans Day, traditional Veterans Day ceremonies, you don't have the type of turnout from younger veterans that you would like to see. You would hope that they'd be participating and engaging in those types of activities, but unfortunately they don't. So we thought, well, you know, how can we create something that veterans want to do, want to attend? And we felt that the Veterans Day softball tournament would be a fantastic way to connect veterans, engage veterans on Veterans Day, especially younger veterans who are active and play sports like softball. So that's really how the idea came about 5 years ago.
Yeah, thank you for that. And is there anyone you would like to honor or recognize today that you served with?
You know, you know, one person that comes to mind. No, you know what? It's Veterans Day. It's not Memorial Day. We keep all of our fallen in our minds, you know, on Veterans Day. But you know, Memorial Day is the day we honor the fallen, and on Veterans Day we live for them. So, you know, I want to just thank and recognize all the veterans who came out today to play and to, you know, to continue to carry on that spirit of engagement and veterans engagement and socialization and doing something purposeful on this day.
That's very meaningful. Thank you, Maurice. Appreciate it.
My name is Daniel.
Daniel, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
What branch of the service did you serve?
I was in the Army.
Army?
Yes.
What did you do in the Army?
I was an infantryman deployed to Iraq.
Yeah. Thank you for your service.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. What's it mean to be out here among many veterans celebrating Veterans Day in this way?
It means a lot to everybody here. We are all you know, brothers and sisters in arms, and to get us all together is exactly what's needed in the community, especially with all the suicides that are going on. This means a lot just to be with family.
Well said. And is this your first tournament? I know this is the 5th time they've held it, but
this is my first tournament.
First time?
First time.
You plan on coming back?
Definitely, definitely.
What branch of the service did you serve in?
The Marines.
The Marines. Hey, right on. Semper Fi, double.
Thanks, man.
Happy,
You too.
happy birthday.
Thanks.
Yesterday. And so what'd you do in the military? What would you?
I was a bulk fuel specialist. Yeah, 1391.
What does Veterans Day mean to you?
Veterans Day is just a time to celebrate all our past and present military service members that made a sacrifice for our country.
Well said. This isn't your typical Veterans Day ceremony. What makes this unique?
Makes it unique is so many veterans and supporters getting together and just putting on a good afternoon and having a good time.
Yeah. Is this your first softball tournament with them?
No, it's my third, I think.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a great game.
Thank you.
Yeah. What does Veterans Day mean to you?
It means a lot because a lot of my family, they were in the Marines and the Army. My dad, he was in the Marines. My stepdad, Air Force. So it means a lot. It means more than what normal people. It means to more normal people.
Right.
Because without them, I wouldn't be in this country. I'd be in the Philippines. So,
right.
So respect.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And could you name a couple things that maybe your positive things that your military experience has brought into your life, or?
Yeah, I see, like, when I was in the Army, before I was in the Army, I was like this kid that was just like not doing it in his life. Then I joined the Army, and then it made me like grow up more. I got a daughter now. I'm recently divorced. I'm trying to get everything.
Yeah.
I work at the VA right now, helping the veterans.
Great.
Just everything.
Yeah.
Without the Army, I would be nothing right now.
Right.
Yeah.
What does it mean to come out here and celebrate Veterans Day with other veterans playing softball? I mean,
it's a lot. Like, I play at the Pleasant Hill softball league every Sundays, and it's just 1 day a week. But that 1 day a week is just everything for me. Just being around with veterans, just saying stupid stuff, just everything. But today, I just got here because I was a little late, but it's pretty good. I'm just looking at the scene right now. So,
yeah. Well, thanks for sharing with us.
No problem.
Appreciate it. This isn't your typical Veterans Day ceremony, and as I believe one of the founders of this, program, what does it mean to you to see all these people, year after year show up and celebrate Veterans Day together? I mean, how proud of you are you?
Oh, very proud. Not proud of me, proud of this.
Yeah.
Proud of the fact that this is the 5th year that the city of Concord, the Vet Center Vigilante softball team, our sponsors, Sentinels of Freedom, Phillips 66, and a whole bunch of other people, volunteers, people who are in the community who come out and dedicate their time, a full day, to put all this together. And I don't think you find this anywhere else, and you should. I think on Veterans Day you should see veterans from older generations, veterans from newer generations, and you should also see non-veterans. You should see the community out as well. And that's what this softball tournament does. It brings all of those people together for something that's very healthy, very productive, very safe, and competitive. So it builds some self-esteem, it builds some courage, builds some identity, and does a lot of good things for everyone. So
thanks, Nathan.
Yeah,
Semper
thank
Fi.
you. Thanks for being here. Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that. So tonight we're speaking to our veteran artists, and if you haven't noticed, we have a live band tonight. So we're going to now give our band an opportunity to play a song, and next up, 2 of these veterans who are across from different generations who have learned how to play a song for us. Go ahead. Take it away, guys.
In a swanky club, I saw you there, looking real sleek, sitting in a chair. I thought I'd take a chance and ask you to dance. I was nervous, but brave anyway. You look so good to move and sway. I thought I'd take a chance and ask you to dance now. Our eyes met, it felt so new. By the look in your eyes, you were interested too. My heart skipped a beat from my head to my feet. I was excited, you looked so hot. I was tried on right on the spot. La 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 la. La 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 la. Thought I'd take a chance and ask you to dance. Thought I'd take a chance and ask you to dance.
Johnny D and Derek Shelton, welcome. Thank you so much, guys, for being here on the show tonight. Tell us real quickly about your military service, Johnny.
Thanks for having me. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, California. Went over to Germany for 2 years in the U.S. Army, came back and started playing music again.
And what's the D stand for?
Dynamic, of course.
Dynamic, of course.
You knew that.
And Derek, thank you so much for being here tonight. Tell us a little bit about your military service.
Yes, served over 7 years in the Marine Corps. Been playing music for over 20 years from Louisiana, so came from a music background. Was kind of forced into it, and I've been hanging on to it ever since.
So we got percussion, we got the keyboards here. Do you guys play other instruments other than just the keyboard?
I was originally a percussionist.
Percussionist, okay.
And then I played some guitar, and then I switched to keyboard about 4 years ago.
Fantastic, beautiful. And what about yourself, Derek?
Yes, I actually play bass, drums, guitar, and I'm a producer. I manage my own studio.
So what's your favorite style of music to play? What do you like to get out there in front of an audience and perform and do?
Whatever makes the people groove.
All right. All right, well, wish we had more time to talk to you guys. Fantastic. First time on Veterans Voices we've ever had our own live band. So thank you so much for being here, guys. We'll have you back again another night.
Thanks for having us.
Many veterans like our musical guest tonight have found hope in an unlikely place beyond the wood and strings of the acoustic guitar. The healing power of music helps veterans cope. That's why Guitars for Vets provides veterans with guitars in a forum to learn how to play. Please visit guitarsforvets.org to learn more about their organization. About Face is a program in Contra, Costa County designed to help you learn how to paint using acrylics. You will be asked to explore your experience as a veteran and tell your story of transitioning from the military life through a self-portrait or other subject. Local artists will lead you through a series of painting exercises over 2 days that will result in a finished product. Workshops will be offered March and April of 2018, so please visit our homepage and click the About Face link to register. Here are a few local events happening to our local community. The United States Marine Corps Reserve Toys for Tot plays an active role in the development of one of our nation's most valuable resources, our children. You can contribute to your local Toys for Tots campaign by visiting www.toysfortots.org. The Concord Vet Center is hosting the annual holiday party for veterans and their families on December 15th at 1333 Willow Pass Road in Concord. Enjoy food, music, and holiday cheer. You must RSVP at 925-680-4526. And over the last few weeks, we have shown you trailers from the documentary The Longest Road, which is the story of the persecution of Christians and Yazidis by ISIS in northern Iraq. That film will be showing tomorrow night at the California Maritime Academy in Vallejo. We encourage anybody to come and see it, and it will be free.
Tonight we have the honor of displaying the shadow box of George Martin Kelly, a Marine who served in World War I. A local family in Concord provided us with a shadow box for our show tonight. Despite not knowing much about their relative, honoring our relatives this way continues to give the veteran a voice even after they have passed away. If you're watching tonight, Elaine, our team wants to thank you for honoring George's service. Do you have a shadow box? If so, please reach out to us. We'd love to honor your military service by displaying it on our set. We all have a story to tell. Do you want to share yours? If so, we'd love to hear from you and possibly have you as a guest on our show, a segment titled A Veteran's Voice. Please reach out to us and tell us more about yourself. Please join us in December, on the 18th of December, as we have a very exciting special town hall hosted by Veterans Voices, focused on today's veterans, live from the California Theater in Pittsburgh. Tickets will go on sale November 27th, PittsburghCaliforniaTheater.com, or call 925-427-1611 to purchase tickets. To rewatch tonight's episode, check back on our homepage later this week or check your cable provider's schedule for rebroadcast times. This is Veterans Voices of Contra Costa County signing off, wishing you all a relaxing evening. And for the veterans out there watching tonight, hua and ura.